Presentation tonight is Dollar Store Agility, and you can see the subtitle there. Our emphasis is shifting over the years. We've all been in the Agile community. Paul and I have been in the Agile community longer than we care to remember, and we've been having a great time at it. And we've noticed a shift recently, and tonight is really about that shift and exploring it as an analogy from the kinds of special value that we get from our local dollar store. Okay, it is a simple yet very effective and in some ways very nuanced kind of business strategy. And we see a connection between the things that we are trying to do with our transformations in 2023 and the way that business model works. So we're going to tease some parts of that apart. We're going to compare it to some of the transformation dynamics going on. And then we're just going to play with this idea. That's our meetup for tonight. That's what we're going to be trying to do. Okay. My name is Dante Velarde. I'm the principal of Turning Partners. I've been a one-man band for 10 years. Most of my work has been in the DC area. I've gotten to know many coaches, many agilists, many people very committed to their careers, and have had, like I said, a terrific time. I've met Paul along the way, and right now I'm working for a large financial services company. I'm on the East Coast after living in the Midwest for a long time, and trying to lay down some roots, and looking forward to the second half of life. And so that's my story. And I'll just turn it over to Paul for a brief introduction. He can explain what he's all about and explain that shirt. Paul, go ahead.
I won't explain the shirt too much. Yeah, so I'm Paul Boos. I'm a principal fellow for organizational transformation here with Excella. We primarily do software development and AI machine learning stuff, but we do coach our own teams. We also coach organizations. I think Dante and I first met actually in Columbus, Ohio, even though you were coming over here. We met at Agile Coach Camp in 2010, or maybe it was 11. I think it was 11. Mm-hmm. So we've known each other for a good amount of time. At the time I met him, I was a Fed. So I became a coach in 2012. So I've also just went past 10 years of doing nothing but coaching. So it's really been a fun trip so far. And so I'm looking forward to working with Dante and presenting this topic because I think it's really valuable.
Fantastic. And without further ado, I think we should cut over to a video. It's going to point out some really interesting things. Stay tuned into the action you see on screen because we're going to try to tease it apart a little bit. Go ahead, Paul, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I think you're going to have to stop sharing for me to share. So there we go.
Sure thing.
All right, let me get in, make sure I can share sound. All right. Hopefully everybody can see that.
What's up, Bracket family? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to see what's new at Dollar Tree. I see a few new things, but I really just want fall decor here already. Let me know if you guys are ready for that. I mean, I just see the summer stuff all the time. Same old, same old. Bring me fall. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm so excited about this. Makeup brush holders with suction cups. I bought these before from Five Below and they're like $3.25. I am really excited that Dollar Tree has these. They got a pink one, a purple one, and then a black one. All you have to do is suction this to a surface that's non-porous, for instance, tile or glass. There's a bunch of little slots inside of this for big and small brushes. This is a great option if you're looking to save some space inside of your bathroom or you don't have a lot of space. Dollar Tree recently got in these big buckets. Get these plastic balls along with those big buckets and you can do table tennis using these outside. Just lay out your buckets. You can get as many as you like. We had 6 on each side, and I recommend putting water inside of the buckets. At first we played without water, but the balls kept popping out. So put some water inside of there so the game doesn't take forever. Look at these crates they have for $5. Definitely worth the price, and I like the stars on this one. I think I want to do like a 4th of July setup with this. I took this crate home and I stained it. I used an acrylic paint that I watered down as my stain. Once the stain was dried, I decided to paint 2 of the stars red and blue to give it more of a 4th of July look. I got this galvanized metal piece from Dollar Tree and I bent it backwards and just placed that in front of the crate. I didn't glue it down because I want to be able to switch it out for different holidays. And then it was just time to stage this. I put a planter from Dollar Tree inside of this, as well as this really cute dowel, some garland that I got from Dollar Tree, and some floral. And then on top of this little planter, I put a fake apple pie that I made last fall, and I'll link that tutorial down for you guys. I think these crates are a great price at just $5. I mean, I can't find anything like this at Michael's or Hobby Lobby for that price. And it's just easy to change around to suit your style. What the heck is this? A beard trimming cake. I'm making Matt do this. What is this? You put it like on a mirror and then shave your, I don't know, we're making Matt do this. So Matt is about to use the beard, what is this called? A beard trimming cake.
Now how do I see what I'm doing? Okay, I don't got this. One problem is my lower back is starting to hurt because I'm leaning forward. If I pull back, I feel like I'm gonna rip this off.
So there is the hair. He caught most of it.
I'd give it like a 7. I would use it again.
So this is like the hair it left behind. I don't think it's too bad.
The best part about this thing is I'm better.
So there you have it. So you've already begun putting some interesting things in chat. Let's just do a little call out exercise. It'd be great to hear from everybody since we're such a small group. What is one word that you would call out in describing that experience? And one word that comes to my mind is varied, right? It wasn't one thing, it was a whole bunch of things. Maybe pass to Michael. What do you think, Michael? What's one word that describes that?
I was about to type inventive.
Inventive, terrific. Let's keep going. How about you, Veda? What comes to mind?
Interesting.
Interesting, sure. And Pramoda? Thoughts?
Caring.
Daring? I found it that way too. Sure. Now let's go on a volunteer basis. Who else has a one-word interjection on that video?
Random.
Yes. Agreed. What else?
Variety.
Variety, sure. What else?
Fun.
Fun, absolutely. Let's keep going.
About cheap or maybe cost effective.
Cost effective, we can dress up cheap with cost effective. I like that. Needless, innovation. I like all these things from chat as well. Any final entrants?
Well, that's 2 words, Sheila. You're cheating.
I like that kind of cheating. And I think creative visualization is a good way, right? She had to do that in order to come up with all those ideas.
I put it in chat, so I wasn't breaking the rule.
I'm with you, Sheila. I'm with you.
In naval aviation, we'd say if you're not cheating, you're not trying, but that's okay.
Very old school. I tried to break this down a little bit more, again, for our fun and entertainment, right? But also with a little bit of a lesson here from the Dollar Tree value canvas, so to speak. All right. Think about the brush holders, right? That worked out exactly as the buyer intended, exactly as the seller intended. She used them exactly as designed. But what about the bucket and the balls? They figured out a new way to use those basic items, play a game back at the house. Fantastic. That really reflects like the customer dominant kind of approach, right? Then the crate and the doll. I mean, that was fantastic, right? You take all those simple dollar items, and she combines it into something that's kind of terrific, more than the sum of its parts. And then the beard cape, we're going to have to call that a dud. That was less than expected. But the point, I mean, think of the words we just used, think of all that variety crammed into about 2 minutes of video and maybe about 2 hours of trying. All right. That's a lot of experience per square inch, so to speak. Right. There's a lot going on there. And this is just from the dollar store, which we know somehow is really simple. Now, let's try to put some of our transformation paintbrush around this. We might remember what things were like, and Paul and I certainly do. Maybe 5, 10 years ago, when transformation just seemed to be on everybody's mind and everybody was rather enthusiastic about it. These are the kind of comments that are not uncommon today. We're hearing them. I have every reason to believe you might be hearing them as well. Take a moment, read through these quotes, and then if you think you've heard one that is similar, just drop it in chat. It'd be terrific to get some of your ideas as well. We'll give you about 30 seconds or a minute to read through these quotes. Well, I trust that in some ways, these types of comments, these types of thought process, these look more familiar than less familiar, and that they've been creeping in over the last couple of years, especially since the pandemic, right? And what is it? What are they telling us about how our transformations are working today, as opposed to maybe how they used to work, right? Well, what's the difference? What's the problem? Well, here's one way of looking at the source of that problem. Okay, if we're going to continue thinking about this as like, what are we selling? What's the retailing environment that we're creating for our transformation? I think we think we've built this environment that's like the luxury retailing setting, okay, where what we're selling is kind of expensive, it's kind of long duration, it's kind of socially specialized, it's not, extremely practical. And here's what that plays out as: a lot of rulemaking, excuse me, a lot of role specification. This is what these people do and what those people do. A lot of focus on process, striving for certainty, planning and executing rather big batch changes. And all of this has sort of elbowed out a lot of the transformation work that used to be very innovative and small batch and very people focused. So we've suddenly become Neiman Marcus. And I think a lot of what we're hearing today is, hey, give me the Dollar Tree version. Give me the dollar store version of this. Why? So I can do the variety of things we just saw that person do in different ways, the way I want to do it. I want to make my own thing out of this, or maybe I want to get a piece of this that's fully fledged, but I want to do other things in my own way. And the point of this is it costs more for the people who are participating in our transformations today than it used to. It's more of a burden. And I think the benefit here is that we can find ways to lower the burden. And just that final comment you see there about what the drivers are, I think a lot of this stems from the confidence level of the leaders who are bringing the transformation. They are afraid that their people won't get it. We don't think that fear is justified, but at least we believe that's the mentality that people are bringing to this. The net of it is our transformations just may be over-programmed. So we need to reduce the programming level. We need to bring it down. And that dollar tree idea is what we're going to try to leverage in the next 40 minutes. Okay. Now I'm going to turn it over to Paul. He's going to take us through an exercise. He's going to help us to enter into sort of the mindset of that person who is looking for dollar store value, just like we saw in the video. So I'll turn it over to Paul and let him walk us through a little bit of exercise.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms in just a moment or two. You'll be either in the pairs or maybe in a group of 3, just depends on how that breaks out. I'll give you about 9 minutes to do a discussion. And what I'd like you to do is think about that dollar store experience. You know, what's coming to mind? What are the important features that dollar store shopping experience brought to you? We had some one-word things to kind of get a little bit out of it, but let's tease out a bit more. What are those important features? What's the value proposition that dollar store is? So let me go ahead and create some breakout rooms here. And let's do, I think about 5 rooms will do. And Michael, you're a co-host, but I can put you in a room if you want to join one, or you might be able to join one on your own.
Yeah, maybe leave me out of a room.
Look, okay. I'll leave it. All right, here we go. I'm opening up the rooms.
Paul, does Brad have to select a or a firm that he's going to break up?
Yeah, he does need to go ahead and select to join a room. And I'm going to move Arlene to room 3. And Brad, it looks like you just haven't joined room 3 also. So I'm getting ready to fire off some Okay.
So you just sent the questions out to the group? Is that what you
Yeah,
did?
sent the questions out to the group and then also just told them to ignore. I actually accidentally said only 5 minutes and as opposed to 9. So I need to make sure I change that for the next one. So
Yes, 5 minutes does usually end up being a little too short for any kind
Yeah.
of discussion.
I can, the thing won't end per se. It'll ask me to end the room to actually, do you want to end them? I'll just say no.
Right.
You find these breakout rooms work pretty well in Zoom?
Yeah, I've used them quite a bit.
Okay.
I've also, what's been really kind of interesting is I've actually run a virtual open space event using them.
Okay. I tried a class, I don't know, a few months ago, and we had, I think, 10 breakout rooms, and we tried to do it in Teams, and it totally failed. It completely failed.
Yeah, I have not had any luck with breakout rooms and Teams. So
Yeah. The capability's there, but it's not mature, apparently.
yeah,
Now
it's interesting. It's interesting. I was talking to a coworker, and he loves Teams over Zoom, and I'm like, I just can't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I think the only reason is he never really, he's been working on site with that customer for, I don't know, 4 years now, and so I think he's just become accustomed to that, and Zoom is like the out of the ordinary one. When I'm certainly more used to Zoom, but I've used Teams quite a bit in a lot of different clients, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be a good way of going. It just doesn't, the breakout rooms in particular just feel really weak. All right, so just if y'all will help me monitor time, 7:33 is when I want to close the rooms down.
Okay.
I'll just need to remember to set the next one for 9. I didn't catch that.
Well, the 2 prior days to this one, I've been presenting full day trainings on European time. So it started at 2:30 in the morning. So my voice suddenly began to fail me after all
Like
that.
when I was trying to coach teams over in India.
Yes.
getting up at like 11 o'clock at night to start my coaching day.
Yes. Amazing.
we once tried to have agile teams spread across the time zones. Like, so we had people in South Africa and people in the DC area and people in India. That came, one of my comments that I was about to make about, what's going on with this, it's too top down sometimes. And so you get people, people up here making decisions about how things are going to run, and they don't understand, the interactions that you need to have. And that was kind of a disaster. It took about a 3-month period for them to realize that was a disaster. But
Yes.
I mean, that's one of the things I think with these overprogrammed things, it appeals to a top-down decision-making approach, and it ignores feedback loops from the lower folks. I mean, I'd say that's one of the key things. I mean, when you look at a lot of them, they're essentially doing an agile transformation, but taking a waterfall phased gate approach. At this point,
Right.
we'll be at
Right.
this level of
We'll instruct everyone about what they need to do, and that way this will work perfectly.
exactly.
everything
Agile
goes according
breakout.
to plan.
Mhm.
2 minutes looking at the clock.
Yes.
I was really hoping that beard trimmer thing was going to work. I saw something like that.
They should have tried it out on the doll first or something like that.
Well, the interesting thing that I think turning into a Batman cape, though, is probably the most successful thing for it.
Yes, that's an improvised customer solution for sure.
Let's take failure and make some. This was a lemon. Let's make some lemonade.
Mhm.
I'm a tall guy with a large enough gut, so when that guy was already bending over, having to, stay close enough to it, I'm like, no, let's go work. Bad.
But the nice thing about it is that was a very cheap experiment for them.
Yes, yes. I didn't even note that. I should have. You're worth everything we're paying you here, Paul.
Yeah. All right. I show 7:33. Let's close the rooms down, and that's going to give them 60 more seconds anyway. So
Did I scroll up one slide? Is that what we do next?
well, we got the debrief to do, so. So you're on the right slide here.
I'll chill.
You must be having good conversations. We don't have anybody coming back early.
That's good. Oh, Brad comments that he can't join the room.
Interesting.
I'm sorry I missed that, Brad.
All right. Looks like everybody's back. Yeah. Sorry that you didn't make it in there, Brad. I don't know. I don't know if it's version incompatibility or. All right. Anyway, let's do a little bit of a debrief and hear from some folks. What resonated in your conversations as the strongest reason to go to a dollar store?
Common items for a cheaper price.
Okay, common items for a cheaper price. All right. What else?
So it was Sheila and I in the room, and we slightly deviated. And Sheila brought up a great point. She said, "I don't like to go to the generic dollar stores, but I do like going to Dollar Tree, and because in that dollar store marketplace, they have been able to offer better things, better cleanliness, and better products." So we deviated a little bit. I hope that's okay. And she said she likes to go to Dollar Tree, and I resonated with that. That I don't like to go to general dollar stores, but Dollar Tree, yes. And the reason for that is that they're always organized, their systems always work, the stores are always clean, and they have slightly better products than the bottom of the line dollar stores.
Toby, when you say slightly better products, what do you mean?
The quality of the products are slightly better. So for example, if I have to get balloons for my son's birthday, I wouldn't go to a dollar store. I don't mind going to Dollar Tree for that, for example. It's just better grade of products. Sheila, did I cover that well?
Yeah. I also said that they tend to organize things into categories. So if you're looking for something specific, it's easy to find, where the dollar stores tend to have everything jumbled together where you have no idea where to look, and their prices may not be clear either. And I don't know if I mentioned this when we were in the room, but I also know that there's a specific schedule for deliveries to Dollar Tree, and you can ask and they will tell you when they will get more merchandise in and what they expect to get. Again, it's organized systems that actually work.
What else?
Yeah, hi, my name is Lavetta Stevenson. I don't know the difference between Dollar Tree and Dollar Generals, but anyway, but what we did come up with, and Harlene was in the room with me, just we would go there because you're on a low budget, but you need essential living items, and maybe a little beyond essential, because I think they have toys and some things like that, but your basic needs for just setting for living, I think they have it covered at a low cost. But in terms of customer service, I never got like a great feeling about customer service. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, oh, well, they're out kind of thing.
Fantastic. Thank you. What other thoughts do we have?
So I was in a group with Promoter. We both don't go there. So we just like speculated. So the one thing is a little bit like randomness. So just browsing for stuff, or also if you need, like I said, I would go maybe there if I need like a random item where I don't get at the supermarket or at a specialized shop.
Yeah, that's terrific, Promoter. One scenario I've followed before, I forget things when I travel all the time. The Dollar Tree or Dollar Store, Dollar General is the best place to go to fill that gap. Because it's cheap and I know they're going to have what I happen to have forgotten.
And I'll throw in another one that quite often when we go on a vacation and we want to get, let's say, a slab of water or something like that, we know that, and it varies depending on where we're going for those vacations, but we know we can walk into a dollar store and they'll have it. They'll have their generic brand as well as usually a name brand, and either one will be cheaper than anything we could pay for in a grocery store. Same place for like snacks and things like that. You know, if you forgot your book that you want to read on the beach, they usually have some kind of cheap novel or something like that. Usually not what I'm going to read, but that's, you know, but for other people, that's really good. They usually have a collection of coloring books to entertain your kids, you know, on the rainy days. So those are really good places to, you know, hit up when I think you have a specific need on travel, and you don't have to go through. I think one of the things that I would mention is probably the same for you, Dante, when you're traveling. Not only do you know they're going to have the item, you also know that you're not going to get overburdened with the number of choices that you have. You'll have a smaller selection of choices, but it'll be what you need. So for example, if I wanted a sand bucket, they might have like 2 different sand buckets for you know, if I got a kid coming along with me, but it's perfect. Yeah, it's all I need. I don't need to have 20 choices. So
What other parts of that value proposition did we come up with? Well, I'll just share one more, and that is that the stores are small. So you can get in and get out of a dollar store much quicker than you can get out of Walmart or Wegmans. All right. It's everything's more rapid through there. I love that.
yeah, and piggybacking on that a little bit too. They're smaller, and as you mentioned, they're usually, you know, at least the better ones are well organized. You know exactly where to go. You go in, get your item, go out. If you go in even some grocery stores or some larger stores that maybe you're not, are trying to fit some of the lower price model, but they're not as low as the dollar stores are. You can only go one direction sometimes. I don't know if you've ever walked into a grocery store and it feels like everything's planned for you to walk all the way through, back and forth through the aisles in a specific direction. Or IKEA, for example, is another one. You've got to go through almost all the stuff, unless you know the secret cut throughs, to you know, and trying to walk against the crowd, that's really difficult. So cool. Do we want to do the next slide there? So this is Dollar General, which is one of the dollar store big. They're actually, I think, the largest one in the US.
The most
And-
stores, I believe.
Yeah, amongst all of it. So and I think they actually own another store as well. But I mean, the thing is, the middle is the value proposition. And so you can see that in there, they're choosing time-saving shopping experience. So smaller store, and and having well organized gives you a time-saving shopping experience, or a time-shaving shopping experience, if you want to do the mispronunciation. But they also locate in strategic locations, like where people really need them. They spend a lot of time in evaluating that. And they give you a wide range of products at a low cost. And one of the ways they do that is not by overburdening by having too many of one particular type product. You might have a choice of 2 or 3, maybe a name brand, a generic brand, and then their own brand, for example. And that might be your choices, but they'll have many different products crammed into that small space, as opposed to if you go to a grocery store, you might have like 40 different types of cornflake, to choose from before you move on to the next thing, the rice puffs. And then you have 40 of them to choose from. So this just gives you an idea of what they're trying to do there. So Dante, I think I'm turning it back over to you.
Sure. So here I've tried to outline some of this style of value that we get at the dollar store and compare it to the value proposition behind our own transformations today. I want us to look critically at the way we're organizing our transformation work. Again, hearkening back to that idea that the way we're doing it right now may be, as I said, over-programmed, like too much specification, too much detail, too much volume, all those things. The dollar store doesn't have those problems. So let's consider these value propositions on the far left, right? You can walk into a dollar store and on the spot, you can say, hey, I want one of those. I'll grab that too. It's only going to cost you $1, right? You can read the rest of these for yourself, but I'll just call out a couple. The fast checkout, like I mentioned. The fact that there are only a few brands and many of them will be off brands, right? One of the value issues we didn't talk about was maybe that, let's say I have a birthday party that I'm running for a child and I need 12 of a whole bunch of different things. The dollar store is a great place to go for that. And we know that they're going to have the basics. You need bleach, you need a scrubbing brush, and you need the cheapest paintbrush you can find. It's got all that. All right. Now let's think for a moment about our big transformation, right? And it may be pulling us away from that style of value. And I've just tried to call out some aspects of that in that middle column. In the third column on the right, I'm asking us to think about how we could make our transformation more like the dollar store value proposition, more like the experience of that person in our opening video. I can grab and go. I can put things together the way I like them. I can try things out. If I want some of this, but not some of that, that's going to be fine. When I think about the thing I need the most, I'm trying to get the kids, for example, to go outside and play. I can create a whole game from some of the things that are available. It can focus on my needs. And then finally, is it simple? Can I navigate through all this? I would submit that many of those qualities our transformations lack today. They don't have them. And this exercise, this hour is dedicated. Let's try see if we can, and especially the next 15 minutes, very focused on, let's figure out if we could somehow translate some of that dollar store benefit to the way we plan and organize our own transformation work. Okay. This slide I've just tossed in there because I want us to realize this is a list of the top retailers in the United States. You see their retail sales volume from a couple of years ago. It's the most current data that's available. All right. And I would just submit that every one of them is applying this kind of right column thinking and action. Not exactly the way a dollar store does it, but when you think about all the qualities of a Costco, a Walmart, an Amazon, a Walgreens, right? How is the store organized? Can you get in? Can you get out? Is it quick? Is it easy? Are you saving money? Is the net cost to me low, right? Those are really great things. We should be thinking, how can we make it easy for our middle management team, for our testers, for our agile coaches, for our scrum masters? Super easy, like Amazon easy for them, not complicated and difficult. I'm going to turn it back to Paul, and he's going to take us through another little exercise.
All right, so I'm going to put you in breakout rooms, and I want you to think about this idea of the dollar store transformation approach. And I want you to think about how you would apply this. So, think about actual things that are actionable to you that you might do differently to provide that value at lower cost. And when I say lower cost, it doesn't necessarily have to be in dollars, but time and energy is a cost to organizations and their people. So again, we're trying to think from that end user perspective. And before I do, I will go ahead and quickly take Jason's hand who just went up.
Hey, I'm the absent-minded professor, so after 4 minutes, I kind of forget what else we're supposed to be exploring in there. So if you could blast that into the rooms more than once, that would be cool.
More than once. Okay, I can try to do
Great.
that. Right?
Thank you.
No worries. I will do that. Let me recreate our room. So you're going to get mixed up. You're not going to necessarily be with the same people. You might be. And let me move. I need to change one setting here. Awesome. That takes care of that. And then one other. I'm going to change your countdown timer a little bit too. So, all right. Awesome. That takes care of that. All right. So let me go ahead and open the rooms. I will blast those questions. Again, take one more glance at them. How would you apply the value proposition to your Agile transformation? What might you do differently? This is where your actions would be. That would be lowering cost. And think about it from that end user perspective. All right, opening up the rooms now.
Good. How do you think it's going so far, Paul?
Pretty well.
And obviously just time check, right? When they come back, we'll be right around 8.
Okay.
Well, Michael and I are going to have dinner after this, and we're going to send you the bill.
It's already made downstairs for me. I just got to show up.
Oh, you're lucky. I've got mise en place. I've got everything sort of cut up and ready to go, but dinner bell hasn't rung.
I like the analogy. I mean, I think it really works. So I really like it.
Thank you for the feedback.
Okay. I've copied it so I can broadcast a few times.
Brilliant. Seems a little like brainwashing, doesn't it?
Think dollar store. Think dollar store. That's too expensive. Who are you? Macy's?
So when you say you've been studying all of the dollar stores, I mean, is that you spent a lot of time kind of studying how they do things as part of developing this approach to things?
Well, I didn't mean to communicate that we know everything about all the dollar stores, just that we have included them all as we've thought about what's valuable about a dollar store, not exclusively Dollar Tree.
Gotcha.
And but Dollar Tree and Dollar General in particular are doing very well.
Yeah.
And one of them owns Family Dollar too. I can't remember which one. That might be Dollar Tree.
Family Dollar, there's Dollar General, there's Dollar Tree, there's family. Yes, yeah. There's probably one or two others.
My use case for dollar stores, and I kind of pre-decided that it didn't really apply to whatever we're trying to do, right? Is that I just go in sort of random, just like, oh, then we just go see what they've got, because you just find things, right? You just kind of find little treasures.
Yes. It's a safe place to do that, which is, they know that. I think they do. They know that people will just
$1. Why would I not?
Right. Mm.
Yeah, I ran across an interesting video from a guy that was like, he's looking at bargains, and he did lots of comparisons, like, hey, here's like a set of 3 pieces of art that I put on my wall, that's in this section, and it's only $10. The cheapest one at Walmart is $15. So I'm already saving a third, right? And it's, and it's not as good. And so why wouldn't I just buy this? And it's cheap enough that I can, if I don't like the color, I can paint it if I want a different color, right?
It's going to fall apart before the other one would, but I'll just replace it with another one just like it. 10 times over. Right?
I'm famous to myself. I'm famous for forgetting critical travel items. Like I go for a trip for a week and I only have the black socks that I'm wearing on my feet. So, I mean, dollar store is perfect for recovery from that.
So when you're planning your travel, you make sure there's a dollar store nearby.
I tell you, Michael, I think almost every trip I forget something. It's astounding. I'm perfect record.
For me, it's always a comb. I always forget the comb. I don't know what that is, but I always forget the comb. Taken to buying several and just putting them in each of my bags. So
yes.
And a dollar store would allow you to do that cheaply. They might have a pack of 5.
There you go.
My favorite, I had an 8-day business trip once. It ran over 2 weekends and I had 2 bags. I left one of the bags. I travel so often with one bag. I left one of the bags at home, so that you couldn't recover with a Dollar Tree that time.
Man, that's
Chaos. I don't know if anybody else is keeping time, but I suppose we're almost up against it.
We're at 3. I've got to show about 3 minutes left.
There's a timer up there too.
Well, there is. Oh yeah, look at that. Zoom novice.
I don't even think I was aware of Zoom before the pandemic. Maybe that's true of a lot of people. WebEx, Teams, but I wasn't aware of Zoom.
We had gotten Zoom in shortly before the pandemic, and what converted us to being big Zoom users at Excelos, when the pandemic hit, our executives just made the decision. Everybody has an enterprise. We have an enterprise license for everybody, and we don't care who you call. Right? We don't they basically said, if you want to call your family, we want you to keep in touch. Use the account.
Okay.
So,
Nice.
and I think for us, that made us really good at knowing how to use Zoom.
Sure.
You know,
Michael, are you content working at home most days?
Most days, most days, yes. You know, I've got a commute around here. You know, I spent 15 years commuting the Beltway around from Rockville to either Herndon or Reston, where most of the jobs are.
Yes.
And it's a nightmare. And you know, I just about moved out of this area to avoid it. So I'm more than happy not to commute when I can avoid it. I mean, it literally was killing me. I felt like.
Wow.
I'm ready to not do that. You know, and you get the time back, and you can do other things.
Right.
But you know, I do like to get out and see people once in a while. So I do miss that part of it. I guess we got about 1 minute. I was just going to say, recently the company I'm with, InfoTrend, has started for program managers and the leadership team. They've started having a monthly get together, you know, to do sort of an IPR, and I look forward to those. So it's one of the few times I can know that I'm going to get out of the house.
Right.
Most of the time, though, I'm okay with it. You know, we have daily stand-ups with my team. We see each other. We talk all the time. We don't, you know, I'm not missing the interactions, and part of that is because we've set it up that way. I suppose most people, I don't know how other people do it, right? But I assume most people set it up so that you're going to have those interactions. So we're not missing that aspect of it. You know, the team is pulling together and doing all the things that we need to do. So, you know, that's the important stuff, right?
Work's getting done, and it's done well.
That's right.
I struggled. I found it difficult, and I'm actually a little bit underwhelmed with the commitment to office time that we have. It's not perfect.
I'm also an introvert, so you know that factors in.
Yes.
More than happy to do things this way.
Gotcha.
all right, they should be coming back to us momentarily.
Very good.
So, you know, do what you need to do with this part, and then we'll wrap it up, and we'll
Yep.
Good to go. Bummer Toby's having such a hard time with the back.
Okay, I think we got everybody back. We want to go ahead and go to the next thing. Let's just do a really quick debrief, see what we have, and then so what did y'all come up with? What's something you might do different?
Keep what works and get rid of what doesn't.
Really do a better job of culling. Cut down the inventory. I love it. What other favorites?
Low cost, high value.
Yeah, look for things. What would that mean? What would low cost mean for your particular circumstances? What's too expensive today?
People's time.
Transaction cost, right?
Yeah.
The amount of time it takes to produce a widget or to produce something. How do we make that efficient? And one of the things that we came up with was also flow. Knowing like a lot of things that Paul and Dante talked about in a dollar store is easy in, easy out. And that's flow. So if we can bring good flow to our transformation, then stories and tickets are moving faster through the boards. And that's something that we could use.
Can you think of something that takes too long from a transformation standpoint, where we're helping you to change, but it still takes too long? What is it that takes too long?
Sometimes decisions, sometimes environment setup, stuff like that, right?
Sure.
uncertainties.
Yeah.
I think,
Sure.
I think one of the things that takes too long is effectively communicating to the people that are experiencing the transformation. How do we get there? What's our mindset change? Right? And you see that because a lot of the team coaches, to be frank, don't know the material well enough to teach it to people quickly.
Interesting. Can you think of a way that might speed up that process, get that communication either to happen more frequently, to take up less mind space? How do we make that more cost effective, thinking about the people in the transformation as our customers? What can we do for them to lower the cost?
A lower adoption barrier, I would say. That's also something, so that the adoption barrier, that it's like easy to adopt, and also to one analogy from the dollar store we had in the group, which I found interesting, was to you go to the dollar store, you want to buy balloons, but you also buy like a toy and scissors and other stuff because it's so cheap and so easily like to take with you. So also showing this offering and making it cheap to adopt.
Yeah, and I think along with that, being cheap allows you to say, oh, I can think of a way of using that in what I'm going to do, and maybe in the future. And if it doesn't work out, I didn't spend very much, I can throw it away. Yeah, simple and small. That's right, Promoter.
Mhm.
I think that's kudos to that. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Sure. What else did we come up with? What other attributes can we bring into our transformation? Go ahead. One thing I really liked that I saw was taking something that's big and maybe long running and breaking it up into pieces. We have Agile training that's 4 to 8 hours long. Sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's a whole boot camp. And we know those things have benefit, right? We know that the time you invest, lengthy time like that is good. But we also know, and we're always getting this message, hey, can you make it smaller? Can you make it shorter? Right? So
Yeah.
why don't we just break it up into pieces that can be consumed at different times and places? That's something we're experimenting with, right? Can we do a 20-minute learning activity that can go a lot of different places? Maybe it's going to work. We don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it.
I think, Dante, if we wanted to piggyback on that thought, we could say, let's try to not teach everything at the beginning of the transformation. Let's teach a piece and use a piece, and teach a piece and use a piece.
Just in time.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Just in time.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
that's
if
what we saw in the video, right?
If we thought about a lot of over-programmed transformations, it's big upfront training, and some of that is not used for months. And then by the time it's being used, it's probably forgotten. So it's not really, and then it's not used properly. So then it requires retraining or trying to coach people out of bad habits that they built.
Yeah, maybe there's a way to make it more pull-based so that instead of teaching things in an A, B, C, D, E, F way, we let people know what the alphabet is, and then they can help us to identify where they think they need help right now. Right? So really building in some pragmatism to all this.
I think we need to stop following blanket roadmaps.
I
To
couldn't agree.
say, this is how it should be done, and if you don't do these steps, you need to look at the culture of your organization from your top executives on down and figure out what can they really digest, what can they really handle, right? And if they say, the first thing that our leadership says, we're not going to class for 3 days. then we got to figure out another way to get like that micro training services. We talked about it, but nobody implemented because I guess it wasn't turnkey. It didn't exist. So somebody had to go and create it. So then it gets left behind. But Dante, I think you're right on point. It's got to be micro training that's available when they need it.
Right.
I think one of the Lavette was in my breakout rooms, and one of the things that she said that really resonated with me is it's not, are we doing safe? Are we doing less? Are we doing Scrum? It's how can we be more predictable in our delivery, and how can we deliver value faster? Whatever that is, we should do that.
Yeah. So thinking from, if you treat the organization as an end user, right, you need to think about what are they trying to get out of the transformation, and let's make sure all the pieces that we're bringing to it provide that. Again, that's what the dollar store would do. You walk into a dollar store, if you're doing a kid's birthday, you go pick items that apply to the kid's birthday, even if you hadn't thought about it, and you kind of look, oh, I didn't think about that item, but that would be a great item for the kid's birthday. I'm going to grab that.
Transformation user, I think, would really value that kind of availability of the transformation assets we have, right? Right now, they're probably not available under those circumstances. I know one of the words that one of us introduced was randomness. Randomness. Just go in and look around and see what's there. I think we've got to manipulate our assets so that people can wander around. It takes some of the burden out of it, right? It takes some of the cost and some of the just the heaviness of, oh boy, now we have this 12-week thing, or now we have to activate for the next 6 weeks, right? Other ideas or maybe closing thoughts here? I think we're getting close to the end of our time, and we'd like to wrap things up at a reasonable time, but this has been tremendously beneficial. What final or closing thoughts might we have?
I mean, I think it's the, I can't remember the dude's name, but it's like the bang for the buck, right? The 20% of these things, these 20% things will give you 80% of what you need, right? So let's focus on doing the bang for the buck things and doing those first and doing those right. And then we'll put the fancy rosettes on the cake after we've got a cake with icing. Let's get the big things, the big bang for the buck first and get it right.
Yeah.
You just brought in another metaphor that would be actually pretty good if you've ever watched the Great British Baking Show, when people do their showstoppers and they get a little overzealous in what they're planning for their showstopper, and then it usually drops dead. It doesn't work, particularly under pressure. So if you haven't watched the show, you should. It's fun.
Well, I want to thank you all for your engagement and your ideas. They have certainly helped us to develop this. And I think there's more fun to come for us in investigating this topic. I think we hope that you've had a chance to look at your transformation from kind of a sideways angle. That was really our goal. We hope you benefited from it. And we've certainly enjoyed laying this out for you and hearing your thoughts. I'll turn it back over, or go ahead, Paul, and then we'll turn it back over to Michael.
Yeah, same thing. Thanks a lot. I think there's a lot we learned from y'all, as well as hopefully you learned something from us, and we help you think about things a little differently. And thanks a lot for your time.
Great, thank you both, Paul and Dante. Really well done, and I really appreciate the insights and spending your time with us and helping us to understand these things better. And really thank everybody for your insights as well and for the participation. I think it's been a really a really nice, back and forth with everybody participating. So really good session. Really appreciate it. Normally we would have an announcement today for the next one. Stick with us for another week or so, and we'll be able to announce that at a later time. But again, thank you, everybody, and have a great evening. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dante and Paul.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.